Best business books? Yeah, I know, it's a bold claim, but in this video, I'm gonna share with you 5 best business books that I've read that have had the biggest impact on my life and my business so far. What is up, everyone? My name is David, and I do videos on personal finance and entrepreneurship. If you want to get the most out of these books, make sure you take the time to read through them, apply the things that was taught in the book, and take what works best for you. And I've also found that if you write the key learnings down into a journal like this for yourself, I found that to really help crystallize the knowledge. Yeah, knowledge. Knowledge. If you're interested in any of the books that I've talked about in this video, I have left links in the description below. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first book is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Chris Voss is an international FBI hostage negotiator. And the most interesting thing about this book is that if you've been to previous sales jobs, we're always taught to, hey, think win-win, or compromise, or listen, go straight down the middle and split the difference so that everyone's happy. But in hostage negotiations, you can't really split the difference. You can't really have half your parents back or half your children back. Why would that be different in business and life? At the same time, as a negotiator, he talks a lot about empathizing with the opposition. Maybe opposition is a bad word, but with the other party, to understand their perspective, where they're coming from, and understand their world. And without empathy, you can't actually do that. And he also talks a lot about how when you empathize, you gain the permission to persuade them. Very often in sales, it's about how smooth you are, how much you know, how much you can persuade them and influence them, and blah, 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 blah. It's very interesting when you're coming from the perspective of a hostage negotiator. So this book has been an incredible read for me. There are a ton of very rich stories of his experience negotiating hostages internationally. There's a couple of things I want to share with you. So I want to share a hack with you that he mentioned in chapter 4, which is my favorite chapter, by the way. And it's all about mastering no, instead of trying to get to 3 yeses. And let me read it to you. There's nothing more irritating than being ignored. Being turned down is bad, but getting no responses at all is the pits. It makes you feel invisible, as if you don't exist. So the next time that you're sending an email, chasing a client, and you're not getting responses, try this subject line. Have you given up on this project? Basically, you're looking for a no. You'd rather someone give you a response than to have no responses at all. Try that subject line next time and see if you get a response. I have personally tried it for one of the clients that were late on payments and they weren't responding. And I put that subject line on my final email, and guess what? They responded in the next 30 minutes. I want to share with you one more hack that I've learned from this book. One of my key strengths is to be able to meet with any decision maker, either from government, well-known startups, or just mid-sized companies in general. And with my messages, whether that's on LinkedIn or email, I always open with this question. Is it a crazy idea for me to buy you coffee so that we can talk about XYZ? That question has worked for me 9 times out of 10 in terms of having coffee with anyone that I choose. And the most important thing is that what you're really looking for is no, it's not a crazy idea. I mean, why would it be a crazy idea for someone to buy you coffee for free and all you have to do in exchange is just talk? Now, next time I want to encourage you to try it and let me know in the comments below what happened, and maybe we can work together on that. Because that has worked really well for me, and I want to know whether that works for you as well. So this is a 100% must read in my opinion. I have recommended this book to a lot of my team members in the past, especially if they are rising to a manager level or even in sales roles. I just think this is an incredible read that will have a different perspective when it comes to sales. And that really also helps you too. If you're a freelancer that's trying to get more gigs, this is an incredible read. So number 2. Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. This book was introduced to me by someone who worked at a software company called Safety Culture. And one of their core products is checklists. So the book captures the journey of Gawande, who's a surgeon tasked to reduce complication rates at a time when the volume of surgeries across the world have skyrocketed. He looked at what other high-risk industries like aviation and construction is doing to tackle safety. Sure, they had industry-specific training and technologies, but so did surgeons and medical specialists. And through the research that he done on those industries, he also found checklists. Now, these checklists used in aviation and construction was not used to teach someone how to go about doing something. It's not about that, but it's there to remind the key things that get forgotten if they don't get reminded. In my world, the performance of a marketer is often assessed at how often and how readily I can replicate a result. If you can replicate it once, that's really good. But if you can replicate it over and over and over again, then you understand the process and you have the knowledge to replicate that result. Essentially, you have the recipe to achieve the same result over and over again. It doesn't matter the context. It matters that you have the recipe to replicate that result. And I found out with checklists, it makes it easier on me to remember to tick off key things along the way. What I realized is that often when things don't go the way that we want, it's usually small things that's compounded over time that created these mistakes. So if I can just avoid these mistakes in the first place, it really does make it a little easier for me to replicate those results. Oh, and also, in the process of creating this checklist, you get a chance to teach a team member in terms of what the key ingredients are in order to achieve that result. So not only does it make you a better professional, it also gives you a chance to teach a team in terms of what are the key things that you need to check off along the way to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position to achieve the same result again and again. Now, I know what you're wondering. Hey David, if the core concept of the book are checklists, why do I need to read this book anymore? Well, the thing is, creating a checklist is not that easy. Now, in the book, he actually provides a step-by-step blueprint on how to go about creating those checklists. You're not just designing the checklist for yourself, but it's also for your entire team. Number 3, The One Thing by Gary Keller. I read this book at a time when I was juggling a lot of different things in uni. I was juggling internships, I was juggling classes, and I was running one of the biggest business societies on campus. And this book was one of the key things that helped me manage my time properly. And the whole premise behind this book revolves around a single question. What's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will become easier or unnecessary? And by asking that question, you're forced to prioritize one thing. And if you're truthful with yourself, that one thing is gonna be the thing that yields you the most extraordinary result. The thing is, doing more, it doesn't really equal to achieving more. And to tell you the truth, I see a lot of businesses now doing a lot and they're selling a lot of products, they're trying to get into a lot of different verticals. And what ended up happening is that they're not really good at anything. They're spreading themselves too thin to be able to be good at anything. Don't mistake movement being progress. But if that's their strategy, so be it. Do you. But there's usually just that one thing that would yield you the best and the highest impact. So make sure that you're true with yourself when you're asking that question. And this book gives you that step-by-step process of how you derive and how you get to that one thing. The quality of the answer is highly dependent on the quality of the questions that you ask yourself and the business. Number 4, Competing Against Luck by Professor Clayton Christensen from Harvard Business School. A year ago, I was working in an education startup that had a very conventional view on competition and potential customers. Competition was defined internally as who are we directly going up against. And even though we did acknowledge that we are indirectly competing against some people, but the focal point was on who are we directly going up against. But at the time, I was trying to get a better understanding of who our potential customers are so that I can market to them better. But then the age, job titles was so diverse that it was actually quite hard to pinpoint exactly, hey, these people with these job titles aged between 35 and 45 are our customers. So then I found this book recommended by Drew Houston, which is the co-founder and CEO of Dropbox. So the book centers around this big idea that it's the situation someone faces that dictate the solution they choose, not the attributes themselves. For example, me being 27, bold, and have a wardrobe full of black tees are not the reason why I chose Coffee over water. But since I'm recording a video for you and I want to be on my A game, I've chosen coffee instead of water. So really it's a situation that have caused me to choose coffee over water. And the situation that I face is what Professor Christensen called job. And when we have a job, we have to hire a solution like the coffee to solve that particular job. Hence the whole concept of jobs to be done. So let's go back to the education startup example for a second. People are buying our courses not because they're age 30 something and have this particular job title. They're buying because they want to make more money with a particular skill set. And our courses was the best solution to solve that job. And Professor Christensen in the book actually broke the job down into multiple dimensions to help you understand jobs to be done better. Because in any given job, there's multiple dimensions to it. There's the functional aspect to it, which is just solving the job as it is. There's an emotional aspect to it, which is like how you feel. And then there's a social aspect to solving that job as well, which is how you're perceived by your friends and family. Most of the time, emotional and social aspects trumps the functional aspect to solving that job. So Professor Christensen has actually provided a lot of practical examples in terms of how to think about jobs to be done and how you can apply it in your business. So this is a highly recommended read for anyone who's building a product currently or starting a business because it provides a different perspective to competition and it provides a different roadmap in terms of how you will improve your product. Okay, number 5. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So this is probably a more controversial one because it's not exactly a business book per se. It is a fiction book. I think this is one of the best business books ever. Now the story behind The Alchemist is a shepherd traveling from southern Spain to Egypt in search for a hidden treasure. This whole book is a journey and creating a company is a journey. And along that journey, you're gonna have to make some pretty tough choices like what the shepherd did. You have to make a choice in terms of what it is that you want. And based on what you want, who do you want to be and how do you want to do that? And once you've made that choice and you've committed to that choice, the universe will get out of your way. And I want to read a quote from the book to you because I think it's an incredible quote. And when you want something, all the universe conspired in helping you to achieve it. It's exactly as it sounds. Once you made the choice and you're committed to that choice, you know exactly what it is that you want. And the universe will get out of your way. It's a short, powerful read that's filled with crucial life and business lessons. So, yes, even though it is a fiction book, it's one of the best business books that I have ever read. And I highly recommend everyone to go check it out. Now, it will be a crime if I don't mention some of these following books as a bonus because I personally read them multiple times. They're being incredibly useful in business for me. So I'll just read them out to you. So there's 5 of them. The first one is Lean Startup by Eric Ries. If you're in the startup world, you should be pretty familiar with this. It's all about optimizing for learning, essentially. Another one is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Another incredible read on competition in general and his thoughts behind that and how to tackle it, of course. Influence by Robert Cialdini, which is essentially the foundational principles of how you go about influencing someone's decisions. Hacking Growth by Sean Ellis, another really practical, incredible read on how you tackle your business from a marketing standpoint. It's more growth marketing related, which is the different stages of the funnel, but it's really good in understanding how a potential customer will flow through a marketing funnel to become a customer. And Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. Now, this book is all about how someone makes decisions. And believe it or not, decisions are mostly irrational and emotional. So thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I will really appreciate it if you smash the like button if you learned something new and subscribe to this channel for more videos like these. And I want to finish this video on this. The best way to get the most out of these books is to take the time to digest it and apply what was taught in real life scenarios. And if you can, document a lot of your key learnings in a journal like this. And until next time, see you soon.